I had my misgivings of episode 11 of Sentenced to be a Hero, but my gosh, this finale was phenomenal. Holy crap, dude. Like, the whole stuff around Kivia and her, like, having to take down her uncle, the whole tragedy behind that, her becoming a hero, and yes, Rhino, dude. Rhino, what the is Rhino, dude? That was wild. That was absolutely wild. I mean, it makes sense why Tiareta was, like, so uncomfortable around him. There's your answer right there. Dude's, like, literally a freaking demon lord. He's just walking around amongst the humans, and it implies that nobody knows. I thought at first potentially you had like coexisters within the temple or something like that, and it could still be a case. Coexisters within the temple are literally like orchestrating having him on the battlefield, and they know that inside this individual is literally a demon lord. But I don't know. I kind of get a sense here he's just kind of chilling. He's literally doing like Spriggan. He's living amongst the humans, and he just loves killing other demon lords. And that's like the whole like uncomfortable thing about it. It's like he's so super powerful, and he's like an insane ally, but the dude's going on whims. The dude's killing his own kind because it's interesting and it's fun, and he's only doing it because he gets to do more of it. Like, he literally could change sides at any moment, and I think that could be a thing, and eventually in the future, that at some point, unless he learns about humankind and grows attached to them, he seems really liking Xylo. Xylo, be friends with the dude. Show him compassion. You know, keep him straight until eventually he can become a side of the humans. But my gosh, there's so much to go through in this episode. I don't even know where to start, but I guess we should start from the beginning and just go right through it. The opening of the episode, we had like a little bit of a cooldown period with Xylo walking with Tiareta. They kind of a little cheesy little note about, you know, maybe everybody likes to see a little praise. You know, hey, Tiareta's happy. Praise me. Oh, here you go. I think everybody wants praise. Whatever. Anyways, that's when they come across Spriggan. This was so anticlimactic that it makes sense why she runs into Rhino later on, because like she comes out there and she's like acting like she's this kid that's in trouble, like, oh, please help me. Tiareta's like, I'll help you out, and runs out there, and then suddenly she attacks and everything. Xylo attacks him, you know, blocks the attack. She shields herself with the dagger, and then you have Sav over here, and he freaking fires over at the thing, and they're freaking out like, you shot a kid? Why would you shoot a kid? Because he was attacking Tiareta. And then Xylo goes over and kicks her into the building, and that's it. Like, they just established this is a fairy that is acting like a human and is disguising themselves, and he protects Tiareta and knocks it into the building, and he's just like, shrug, I guess they're after you, Tiareta. Wouldn't have it any other way. Ha ha ha. Like, they just like jump like they're in some sort of like old crime television, and they like get stuck in the air like, oh, let's go home. It's like, you're not gonna go finish it off? Like, the thing's over there. Kill it. They just, like, leave it there, and they just walk home. They just leave it within the building and just walk home. I mean, the assumption there, I guess, is that it's dead, but still, it's like, okay. I guess they didn't have in their mindset that it was going to be Spriggan. Even though I think previously they had Frenchie was establishing that it was Spriggan. That Spriggan was disguising itself. I don't know. Anyways, yes, following, you know, them walking away from this thing, it crawls its way down into the sewers before coming across Rhino. At first, I'm like, okay, it's just Rhino showing up to kind of finish this thing off, but then he mentioned the fact that, you know, whenever demon blights infect an area, they put off a sort of wave, and demon lords can trace it, and I'm like, wait, what? So wait, he's a demon lord? Like, what? Okay, whose side is he on? Is he just, like, chilling, and he's like, whatever, I'm here to kind of clean up your mess because I don't want anybody finding you or whatever? No. Here's the part that gets a little interesting here. I'm not sure what he's saying here, but he says that he is somebody that was sentenced to be a hero for doing something boring and shallow, like taking another life. He points it out like this is like the most like basic thing, and thus it's boring that I was sentenced for killing my own kind. Humans find that to be very basic and normal or something like that. It's a common trait or something like that. I don't know, because he does later on talk about the fact that he does have a vessel. This is a vessel that he's inside of. This human form that he's in is somebody that he, as a demon lord, is inside of. Just like Spriggan. Spriggan needed to find another body to go inside of. So, I'm not sure if it's talking about the fact that Rhino as a human, before the demon blight was in it, was sentenced because they killed other humans, and the demon blight went inside of him, or did the demon blight itself get sentenced because it can kill other demon blights? That was the part that I didn't really understand. Or he infected a human and then killed another human, and then they sentenced him at that point, and then he enjoyed killing other demon blight. Either way, the oddity here is that, yes, he is a demon lord that is inside of a human, and has been sentenced to be a hero and is now out doing exactly what he wants to do. Like, he's like, I want to do this. This is so great. I get to spend all my day killing my own kind. And while most people would see that as horrible, the humans praise me as a champion. And that's where it gets into that whole thing that they were showing with his character around Xylo. Like, he wants to go out there and fight. They said that he, like, volunteered to be a hero. This is something you don't want to do because he just wants to, like, be praised by people he'll never know. I want to go out there and take down this stuff for the sake of people who will never know my name. He just wants people to see him as a champion as he's killing his own kind, and he thinks it's interesting. At the same time, just like Bujum, he wants to learn more about humans. He wants to learn everything about them, how they see things and everything like that. It kind of relieved my worries around them getting rid of Bujum until we found out that Bujum's not dead. It relieved that very temporarily because I'm like, this is the same concept here. It's a demon lord trying to learn about human nature while at the same time they're a time bomb. And this is where I think this writer could do something really cool with this, in the fact that there's so many different directions it can go. That as they play out the story, as we hopefully get more adaptation or the source material, that essentially Rhino's character can be this sort of volatile thing where at any moment it could shift to harming humans because he's bored with it, or understanding a concept about a human and wanting to protect humans, or possibly learning different sides about humans that justify them killing humans. It goes different directions because there's such a a canvas. They're literally a canvas that wants to learn about humans and how they function. It's just like similar to like, demons and Frieren Beyond Journey's End. The idea of them mimicking humans, they're acting like humans and they're trying to take the concepts, but they don't truly understand the concepts because they're not human. They don't have the mental capacities that we do. It's very interesting. But yeah, him kind of showing up there and just like, hey, I want to get rid of you. And just slam against the wall and just kills it. Goodbye, squish. It was crazy. Again, explaining why Tereta was so uncomfortable around him. Dude's nuts. Dude is absolutely nuts. I do wonder, though, with the conversation at the end, the reveals around the goddess and everything and how they have, like, limited slots, that this individual is known. Like, at least Kafzin knows. He at least knows, or at least the goddess knows, because, again, they have to have this knowledge about him, that they at least know about him. Or at least he never has died before, and thus they never have to worry about resurrecting him. But we'll see. But that was crazy. The way they played that scene out, too, was incredible. Like, it's just absolutely unsettling. She's sitting there, like, freaking out. I want to get another body. Leave me alone. He's just like, whatever. I want to kill my own kind. And I'm going to kill you. It was nuts. And again, Xylo, I hope you make friends with this guy. Make good friends with this guy. But yeah, after this, we had the confirmation that Bujum is not dead. That apparently he replaced himself with a blood puppet. So thankful there. Again, I was really frustrated with that because I was like, wait, there's some opportunity here. Even though now we have two characters that are doing this. Something that we can kind of dig into as a look into the other side. That's where we shift into the other start of this entire story, which is, of course, Kivia. Kivia gets a confirmation from Frenchie that, yes, your suspicions are true. And then she ends up confronting Marlon about the fact that, yes, this name that was used is something that only people in the North use, and you use it a lot when you were out in the town, so tell me the truth. Why are you working with the coexisters? And this plays into sort of what they were talking about before with, I think specifically Venetum talked about this. The fact that these individuals that are coexisters, they just want to be at the top of the food chain afterwards. He's saying strictly to Kivia, we are going to lose. Humanity will lose. 100%. It's going to happen. I just want to make sure that when it happens, me and my family are in a good spot. We're going to be under them, but at least want to be up here and not completely on the bottom, or at least wiped out. A lot of people are going to die. I want to make sure that our family doesn't. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, there is that element of like, how long until you're going to get wiped out as well? Like, are you working with them now and they're kind of okay with you until they get what they want and they're going to wipe you out? How long are you going to be able to surface there? How long are you going to keep your head above water? But yeah. Seeing the struggle with Kivia, her struggle with that whole thing was just good. Like, the whole shot where, like, he gets up and goes to, like, explain things, and she's just like, Uncle, stop. Like, no, stop. Like, freeze. No, Uncle, stop. Her voice acting in this episode was so good, and the way they portrayed her emotion was so good. But yeah, eventually going to apprehend him, and because she's not accepting it, and he turns the fire, and Radjit, poor guy. He's had like 3 scenes in this show. Seemed like a really cool dude. Freaking gone, dude. It was like one of those moments of like, okay, is it shooting a no. It's like all this is gone. Very gruesome way of portraying it with like some of the lip kind of missing there, at least folding over so you see the teeth and stuff like that. Skeletal structure. It's like, yeah, he gets wiped out. Then sends her into a rage. She kills him. And of course, they blame her on it. She gets arrested for the whole situation and completely blamed for it. The oddity here, though, is that, yes, when they bring her to questioning, though, they tell her that if she admits to the fact that she was jealous for the rise of his power or something like that, they'll let her go. And then she says, what of my men, and what of Xylo and the rest of the penal heroes? What is she talking about there? The only thing I can think of is that she's picking up that they're going to potentially pin this on the penal heroes and the rest of her unit, and she doesn't want them to do that. I don't know. It seemed like a weird, like, shift there. They're like, hey, admit that you did it and we'll let you go. And then she's like, but what about Xylo? It seemed off. Either way, after that whole situation, of course, Kafzin confronts her and pretty much reveals a lot around the heroes. And I was kind of, I thought for a minute there we're going to do some weird kind of like time shift here, because out of nowhere, Kivi is asking about what are the heroes? What are the penal heroes? I'm guessing just based on the fact that he's coming there and saying, hey, you exceeded our expectations. I mean, you're really skilled on the battlefield, but then you went off and did like this crazy thing where you killed somebody that was like most precious thing to you for the sake of people. Like the most selfless thing that you could do is, or it could be a very delusional thing to do. But yes, he eventually offers the idea of continuing to be able to do her work, or, you know, go off and die. Hey, you can become a hero. We're going to make you a penal hero, and you can become a part of their unit. At which, again, she asks what the penal heroes are. And again, this was the odd thing. I'm like, I kind of assume that she knew this already. I guess it's not common knowledge to most people how exactly it works, and that's what she's questioning. Like, well, how do I become one? How exactly does it work? I mean, I see them, I've talked to them, but they're bad guys. How do you become one? I'm guessing that's why she's questioning it. But for a brief moment, I was kind of wondering, is this going to be some weird like time jump thing where suddenly we find out that the entire time she's actually been a hero and she's been working alongside them? But anyways, yes, Kevzin explains what exactly the whole system is. And apparently this entire world is based off of an isekai. I mean, we were joking about this quite a bit with the, you know, how they were talking about Tatsuya and the idea that there is a goddess that is able to summon people from another world. And that was like one of those things of like, there's rumors that this is a thing. It is actually a thing. It's actually a thing. Apparently, back in the day, they used to actually summon heroes from another world, but they found it a problem that they would come from this other world and communication was difficult, and, you know, they're not from our world, so there's oddities that's very confusing to them and for us. So they just thought, hey, let's just start using dead people. Rather than keep summoning people from another world, you know, some dumb dork that was at a supermarket and is a complete shut-in neat, let's just take people from the past that are dead already and resurrect them again to fight. But it goes into specifically kind of choosing these individuals to be a part of this. And interesting, this is the interesting part, they're utilizing her power, and it requires her to essentially remember things about them, and that's why they essentially lose their memories. She has to retain their memories and everything about them, and has to apply that to their souls back into their bodies every single time, and thus anytime that something slips from her, that's where they're losing that information. It kind of implied early on that this is a case of they're just casting a resurrection spell on them over and over again, or reattaching their body, and yes, over the time that their body is not functioning, the heart's not going, and they're not put together, their brain is dying, and thus they're losing memories. No, this is simply a case she's putting them back in there, and she has to, again, put all those memories back in there. And this implies that this is a limited number of people that they can do this with, and that, yes, there's only one more slot, and that's for Kivia. There's so many slots available for this. And this is where it kind of cements a lot of my theories around Kavzin in general and why he's choosing these specific people. Again, the fact that he is actually on their side. He's not a bad guy here. He wants Xylo to take down the Demon Light. He wants Venetum in this because he's very smart, and he knows a lot of what he needs to know. He's choosing these individuals specifically, which makes me believe that, yes, even Rhino, I think he knows. I think he knows Rhino is a Demon Lord and wants to use his power. There's only so many slots they have available, so they're not going to just throw anybody in there. These are specific people chosen for their talents. The other thing that submits that is, of course, the fact that Elfie, who is with him, his goddess, is able to bring forth information. And this is something that apparently works side by side with this other goddess to give that additional information. That he knows everything that happened with Kiviya. He knows that she's not guilty. She could easily bring him any information he needs on any of these people. He knows that every single one of them is innocent. And that information could also reveal who Rhino is. There's a lot of things here that points to Capstan knowing exactly what he's doing and knows exactly what's going on. And everything that he's doing is pretty much calculated. But yes, he eventually does offer to her, hey, die or, die and then fight some more. Either die in execution or die and we'll resurrect you to become a hero. And this is an interesting kind of proposition here because he says that you have to die here. In order to become, you can accept this, but you have to die here. I have to take you out of here in parts. And then we'll put you back together and then hope that the goddess is going to take care of you and put you back in there and you're not going to forget anything because I have to take you out of here in parts. You have to be dead. Now, I will admit, Kiviya's decision here sounds a little bit off. So I don't know if this is just something that's missing in the adaptation. Kiviya said that she's frustrated over the idea of people believing that she did wrong. Believing that she's a coexister. Believing that she killed her people. The fact that she is disgraced frustrates her. The fact that she is being blamed for this stuff frustrates her. The fact that she has let down people frustrates her. Why wouldn't she want to then keep pushing for the idea of a trial unless at this point she's acknowledging, I'm not going to get that. It's just not going to happen. What this guy in front of me is presenting to me is my only two options. So I either just die and people accept that I am guilty because I'm not going to get a trial, or I can become a penal hero and hopefully undo something. Or at least, at the very end, be able to do some good deeds, be able to achieve something, because either way, I'm kind of screwed in this scenario. I'm guessing that's where it's kind of come to the conclusion there. It's because she's saying that she's frustrated over being blamed on this stuff, but at the same time, she's going to accept her punishment, which will essentially make her deemed as guilty. Unless that stuff doesn't go to public, because he did say something to the effect at some point that this stuff will not be public, I will keep it a wrap or something like that. I don't know. People are going to assume, because essentially she was dragged out in chains, people were already saying on the side of the road, saying she did it, so... Anyways, she accepts it. Seems like Kevzin is not really too much of a fan of her becoming one, so I'm guessing somebody else is making the decisions here. He's just kind of, going by whoever's choice it is. It might be the goddess that does the resurrection. She might be choosing Kiviya. It doesn't seem like he's all too fond of it. He's like, okay, I acknowledge your push here. I acknowledge your oath here. I'll witness it. Here, take the knife. Take yourself out. And that wraps up the season. Holy crap, what an end. What an end. We didn't really see much of Xylo and the rest of them after that, other than the fact they're running where Rhino is. We don't even get to see the reaction to the fact that Kiviya was getting arrested or anything like that. They did find out that one of the capitals is being taken down, and apparently it's like a major point of defense, which implies that beyond this point, the story, the first capital's in danger. It is their focal point, their fortress to protect their lands. So it kind of gives the impression that going forward, things are going to get really, really serious. I'm just more curious of how much time has passed since Kiviya has been arrested, because it kind of implied the idea that she's been in there for a while, thinking about everything that's happened and what she was going through. Anyways, I think that's pretty much the entire episode. My gosh. Hopefully we get an announcement for another season. I know that, again, they have a countdown for a next event, I think Anime Japan or something like that, where they're going to be doing an announcement. So hopefully then we'll get an announcement for a second season. But until then, that's it. That's my coverage of Sentence to be a Hero. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and you want to support more, become a member. Until next time, y'all take care.